I understand that most founders, they try to save money, and though they ask their friends or some people, I think it's important to have professional people. You have to afford, the concept must finance to employ professional people.
Absolutely. And I think that you can employ people full-time. You can get people as contractors. You can also get people as advisors. I think your options depend on whether you're self-financing. So bootstrapping is what we'd say in the US. I've never taken personally any outside money, so I've always started small and built up, dollar by dollar, to in some cases pretty big, 15 countries in distribution, things like that. If you're traveling the more traditional Silicon Valley startup route, so you're going to be raising capital and then probably not profitable for perhaps a period of time, in either case, if you're going to raise money, I think it's very helpful, and also for the longevity and the success of the business, to have advisors. So what a number of my friends who are serial entrepreneurs have done is they will actually get 4 or 5 advisors in the beginning and offer them anywhere from, let's say, a quarter of a point, meaning 0.25% or 1% of a company, somewhere in that range, and then refine the business model with those advisors, and then use their credibility also to get better investors.
Yeah.
But I think that you want to have the best whenever possible, certainly. And I think you should view business relationships, particularly with co-founders, the same way you would view a marriage. I mean, you should take it very seriously because it's a lot easier to get into a relationship than it is to get out of a relationship.
That's an interesting point, because almost everybody likes to work in a team.
Yeah.
And that sounds very good and comfortable.
Yeah.
And you're a little bit skeptical about that. You say a lot of mistakes done by choosing people for social reasons, but not for business reasons.
Right, exactly. So the personal chemistry is important, but what happens very often is you find people build the team around them who won't say no to them. And you have 5 people who think exactly the same, or you have 1 person with a very strong personality and then 4 people who aren't going to disagree with them. And that doesn't improve anything. And I think that if you have a very refined business model, that's the first step. If you add people to that, then you can multiply the results. If you have a bad process or an unrefined model and you add people, then it just multiplies the problems. So I think it's very critical whenever possible to try to scale in size and revenue, et cetera, without scaling in headcount.
Yeah.
And at least to do that thought exercise, so you try to improve the model first and then add people second.
So creating and improving the business model.
Yeah.
That's the task of the lead entrepreneur before he chooses a team.
Yeah, I think so. And you can bring on advisors, but the way that I think you should choose advisors is people who, number 1, know things that you don't, have experience that you don't, and number 3, who are strong-willed enough to disagree with you. And that's extremely important. So there was an anecdote that I read in The Effective Executive. It's written by Peter Drucker. Great book. It's a small book. I'm sure it's in German. And there was an anecdote, I don't remember the exact business tycoon, but an icon in business. And he had a meeting. And anytime he had a meeting, he would say at the end, does anyone have anything to add to this, any disagreement, any discussions, questions? And if everyone said no, he'd go, all right, great, we're going to schedule another meeting, and then you can come back with questions.
So he forced them.
He forced them, exactly. And I think just as meetings is one example, in every meeting, a few things. Number 1, you can brainstorm as a group, but only 1 person can make the decision.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah.
Number 2 is that there should always be someone to play devil's advocate, meaning to just take the opposing view,
Yes.
just to argue and discuss it. And then thirdly, at the end of any meeting, you should have very precise next steps that are delegated, assigned to specific people. And if you don't do that, then a meeting is just a waste of time.